the I'm a Fan of podcast, music, comedy, and more.
Matt George, welcome, man.
Dude, thanks for having me.
We found out we're neighbors. We could have carpooled.
Yeah, I know. That's crazy.
Like literally pretty much the same street.
Yeah. I mean, what are the odds?
And then you were just telling me you actually got 3 first names. Is that what you said?
Yeah. So Matt and then George. And your middle name typically comes from a first name. And so I'm named after my grandfather, who's Alan.
Matt Allen George. So, dang, it's a strong name, though.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it's good, man.
It's funny when we you'll be at a bar or something, and they're like, you're closing out your tab, and you're like, hey, can I close out George? And they're like, no, last name. And I'm like, yeah.
You're like, no, it is. And then you got to do that whole thing, that back and forth. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Dude, I can't tell you how much I'm tripping on the fact that we are not only in the same neighborhood, but literally the same street.
It's wild. That's wild.
Like I was telling you earlier, I've walked by your house so many times.
That's crazy.
Like a ridiculous amount of times. I'm shocked we haven't even just seen each other like on the sidewalk or something. Yeah.
Yeah. It was bound to happen.
Yeah. Small world, man.
That's crazy.
The whole introduction to your band and everything, it's just been real unique because there was just a comic on this show.
Yeah.
This guy, Danny, he's a comic, and he was like, I was just talking about music because he's into music. And I was like, well, how do you find new bands? How do you check out new bands? He's like, oh, my buddy just took me to this show. I guess y'all had done a Christmas show at Deep Elm Artco.
Yeah, we played at Artco in December. And it's really funny, like Danny, kind of getting into all this and like even this moment happening because we try to like pay attention to who's at our shows because we've been playing together for almost 4 years now, and like for the most part who's showing up. Your friends will tell you you're coming and stuff, but like there's this dude in the front row and he's like loving life. and we even made a comment.
It's for people who don't know, that's exactly how to describe Danny.
Oh yeah.
Like he's just he's pretty infectious with how
absolutely
chill and happy he is.
Yeah. And there was even one point where Carter, our keys player, like looked at me and was like, dude, this guy, like, he's giving me something here. And so we made a point, like, after the show, like, let's talk to him. Let's, like, get to know who he was. Yeah. We couldn't find him. So then, like, 2-ish months go by, and I just get on Instagram one day, and I saw we're, like, mentioned in a reel, and I clicked on it, and it was, like, y'all talking about
was it this show?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I was like, I found the guy. Like, he's right here.
Oh, man, the universe, man.
Yeah,
I
crazy.
just love when that stuff works out. Yeah, he was psyched about it. I saw him another time, off the podcast, and he was like, so, are you going to, like, check out a show? And I was like, no, I already listened to the music. I, like, reached out to him about coming on. He's like, that's awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
And then the buddy who introduced him to the band, Jacob Marshall, he's, like, all about it, too. Like, when he was on his podcast episode, he was like, I can't believe you have one of them coming on.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, so he was psyched, man.
Yeah.
See how we're building up, like, this really... like these people are really into your music. You're building up a fun following right now. Does it feel that way?
It's crazy. I think sometimes it does.
I haven't been to a live show yet, so I don't know what your audience is like. But
I think that we have a good time.
Yeah.
And I think that translates a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But we're playing the Rustic July 19th.
Okay.
It's a Saturday. But
I'm gonna have to check that one out.
Yeah.
I'll just ride with you.
Yeah, you should. Might be there a little early, but you get glimpses of it.
Yeah.
Like we've all kind of had that moment in and around town where we've heard our song being played somewhere, and those kind of moments are like, oh, this is like a little bigger than what we think it is. But then there's moments where you're playing to 3 people in a place, and you're pretty much about as important as the wallpaper, and you're like, oh, okay, cool.
The Rustic is a real interesting venue.
Yeah.
So that was the one Jacob Marshall was talking about on this show. That's where he saw you guys. He said he was meeting someone for a date, and he was there before y'all started playing.
Oh, sweet.
And he was like, y'all in a real positive way interrupted his date, where like both of them were like, who is this? And like then they just started jamming. So I'd like to think you improved his date. I don't know if they made it or not, but but it's an interesting venue, right? Because first of all, how long of a set are y'all usually doing? Like probably like 2 or 3 hours, right?
Yeah, it's typically 2 or 3
You're
hours.
the entertainment that night.
Yeah.
So you got to throw in covers, originals, and so a ton of the crowd's not even there to see you.
For sure.
Right? And then a lot of them don't know if you're doing originals or covers until they hear a song they know or don't know, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So what's y'all's approach when you play a venue like that, where like, are you approaching it like, okay, I think we can find some new fans here, or this is a way for us to tighten up while we're also getting paid a little bit, or how do y'all kind of approach that type of show?
That's
where
a good
it's not
question.
solely about your music, you know?
Yeah. I think we kind of approach it with a balance of like, we're here to have fun, but we're also here to maybe win some people over. And then we're also here to like play for our friends, you know? And so we spend a lot of time thinking about kind of like the set list and the like flow of the set list. And so for a show like The Rustic, we, you know, maybe we start with some covers to kind of, you know, get people looking up from their margarita or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you start like kind of easing into what you want to play. And you just hope that like, you know, it feels good. And like, there's also, you know, we make a set list for a reason, but there's also, we kind of have this like rule of we can abandon the set list at any point if we feel like stuff is going wrong. But yeah, it's kind of just like, those are fun because it's not necessarily a theater where people are like, I'm here for music. A lot of people are hanging out. A lot of people are just drinking. And so it kind of creates this like, there's only as much pressure as you want to put on yourself to like really win people over.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes that lack of pressure makes us all play better.
Yeah, a little looser.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of comforting, I guess, sometimes. Like I heard somebody talk about live music once where they were like, you're here to be seen, not heard. About like venues like that, it's like you're just ambiance, you know.
For
so
sure.
it's like all the pressure's off.
Yeah,
just chill out, you know.
You're just there to sell beer, and if someone can walk away like, oh, they were all right,
yeah,
then
man,
it works.
I bet y'all are good at selling beer. I mean, because you know the tracks that you have online, at least. That's how I was kind of talking to when Jacob and I were talking on this show about it. It's like I love music. I love all genres of music, you know, and but. It's like as deep as you go in the hole of subgenres of music of like, you know, we sound like this and this and that, blah, blah, blah. It's like every now and then you come across a band like yours where you're like, I'm so relieved I can just tell people like, it's just a rock band.
Oh, heck yeah.
Like, just go listen to it. Like,
yeah.
You know, do you like guitars, drums, bass, some keys, some people that sing? Yeah, you'll probably like this.
Yeah.
Go check it out.
That's
you know?
awesome.
It's like sometimes it's nice to just keep it simple. It's like one of the last times I had that feeling was when Alabama Shakes put that first album out, you know, and you're just, when people are like, what's it like? And it's like, it's just rock music, man.
It's rock. That's awesome.
You know, it's like, it's
just feels good.
It's not pigeonholing you into anything, but it also sums it up, you know, just perfect, you know?
Yeah.
And so, well, how many songs do y'all have on like Spotify and stuff right now? Like 4 or 5, right? Or 5 or 6?
Yeah, I think it's 5 or 6 or
and
7,
I saw most
maybe.
of them are from like 2022.
Yes.
So So what's the deal here?
Well, we have...
Are y'all just meticulously working on an album that you can't decide when you want to release it? Or
I mean, yes, pretty much.
Yeah.
I think, you know, we go back and forth on this of like, in the age of singles, is like, how do you release... I mean, even if you release an EP, it's not going to be received the same way a single would, just because of how music is like consumed these days. And so, you know, it kind of puts you in this weird place as an artist where it's like, do you do the single game and do you just put single after single after single out, even though you may have recorded all these songs with them being like a cohesive unit in mind? And so, you know, we recorded a lot of songs in like 2021, and those are the ones that are kind of on Spotify now, except for the one that came out earlier this year.
Outlaw.
Yeah. That was kind of the first one recorded of this second batch that we recorded here in Dallas with John Pedigo at Modern Electric.
Oh, yeah. That's a great studio.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
But so we're kind of sitting on 5-ish songs, just trying to figure out how to release them. But that's kind of where we're at.
How many originals do y'all have that you feel comfortable playing live right now? That you feel like you're not working on? Finished pieces. We love these.
Yeah.
How many songs do you think that is that are not released?
That are not released. I think we probably have about as many unreleased as we have released. Like
Gotcha.
I think
So you're
probably
sitting on at
6 or 7.
I gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because honestly, normally, okay, selfishly, I would like y'all to put out an album so I can hear some music, right?
Yeah.
But like really thinking about the band and the strategy, I don't know. That's a good question. Normally, I think the single route is just kind of lame. Like,
I totally
agree.
it.
I get it.
Yeah.
But then I think about y'all's band and how you can play in so many different environments.
Yeah.
And you can still build a fan base without really releasing a lot of songs.
Yeah.
Like you could go kind of the old school way of where like you're going to play a lot, build up a fan base, maybe get them excited about this upcoming release.
Yeah.
Rather than using a release to build the fan base.
Exactly.
But I don't know. I mean, but that you're one of the few bands I would say that to. Normally I would be like, dude, get your music out there, go play. But
yeah,
knowing you can do a 2 to 3 hour set really opens y'all up to playing a lot of different spots. Well, I mean, we live here in this East Dallas neighborhood. Have y'all get to play Sundown at Granada yet?
We have. Yeah, we played there for the first time.
Did you like it? Sorry, that's a bad question to ask you on a podcast. Where I mean, I've never had a person have a bad experience there.
Oh,
it's a great venue.
Yeah.
But they do residencies there.
Yes.
Have y'all thought about doing like more residencies?
Yes, we have. I think in an ideal world, we would have one at a place like that. And yeah, our show there, I think we played in February or March, maybe. I can't remember, and it was amazing.
Yeah,
it's awesome. It sounds great. The people that work there are so sweet and just accommodating.
It sounds better than it should for that small.
It really does.
Room. That room,
for like that narrow.
It should sound bad, but they just. I don't know if it's the same sound guy or if they have like a rotation.
Yeah,
but they can. I just saw this guy. Eddie Ninevold, who does like, he was there.
He's the man. Yeah,
he just did it. And I told my wife, I was like, I went to this show like by myself because it was on a weeknight.
Oh, sweet.
I told her, I was like, I gotta see it because next time he comes through, he's probably going to be bigger and at a bigger venue.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And he had announced that night that they had signed on a larger label. So I was like, there it is. This is probably the last time I'll see him in this room.
Yeah.
And something about that room, man. Even like
special.
It's got kind of a bad setup.
Yeah, it's not like a music forward.
No, because when you walk to the stage as a fan, it's like you've got all the traffic coming in from the patio that kind of gets in the way every now and then.
Yeah.
And then if you want to go to the bathroom, you have to walk in front of everybody to the side of the stage.
Yeah.
And so if you told somebody that on paper who didn't live in the neighborhood or something, they'd be like, oh, that's a bad venue.
Yeah.
But every show I've seen there has been great.
Yeah. I totally agree.
Local shows, touring shows, there's just a little magic in that room.
Yeah.
And I've gotten to play on that stage before.
Oh,
and
cool.
It feels the same up there.
Oh, sweet.
And you guys would kill residencies, I feel like.
Yeah. We would have a lot of fun with it. I think it's also like, those kind of places and those environments are like a great place to try stuff out.
Yeah.
And just throw stuff at the wall.
Well, and y'all, just from what I've heard, just the way people describe you, y'all been playing together for a while now, right?
Yeah. It'll be 4 years next month.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're more than just, okay, we wrote these, play these exactly like that. It sounds like y'all can get loose and just have some fun on stage.
Yeah.
And kind of, and that's where you get some of those great, not only live moments, but all of a sudden after the show, you're like, hey, that thing we did? Like, I think that might be something. We could maybe get another track out of that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And a lot of our kind of like musical heroes were these, people that would stretch out a lot and kind of improvise. And so,
like jam band type
like
stuff?
Jam band type stuff, yeah. Andrew...
Like, give me some names. Who's some of your heroes?
I think Allman Brothers are like the pantheon.
Hell, you're too young to know them, man.
Well, I was going to say...
It makes me so happy that you know them.
Andrew, the singer and other guitar player, we both grew up in Georgia, and so it was kind of like woven into the fabric of Georgia. But yeah, Allman Brothers, obviously the Grateful Dead, Goose...
The Grateful Dead, and this might make you want to vomit, I'm so sorry, but it's one of those bands that it's never clicked for me, right?
Yeah.
But where it has clicked for me is like when other bands cover their music.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like one of my favorite Grateful Dead songs is a Sublime cover.
Oh, cool.
And it's like, and I'm sure real Grateful Dead fans are like, okay, I'm going to turn the podcast off now.
No, but I think that's fine because I think the whole idea of their like ethos is like just getting the music to people. So if you like it through a cover, then it's like, I would say that they probably feel like they're doing their job.
And I imagine it's one of those bands. I mean, you guys know now that you've recorded all these songs, it's like, it's so hard to capture that moment.
Yeah.
On a record. And I know that's one of those bands that if I had the opportunity to see them live, it would probably click even harder.
Yeah.
Because I had that moment with a Jack White album, and I love Jack White.
Yeah.
And he put out this album, Boarding House Reach, and it was more. It's not like it was experimental. He's always kind of been all over the place, but like there were some songs on there where like lyrics wouldn't even come in till maybe like 3.5 minutes in. Stuff like that, where it's just a little different.
Yeah.
And it's like, I really wasn't feeling it. I don't, there's a couple tracks that were okay. But then when he came through Dallas, he was at the Bomb Factory. And so we went and watched him. And all of a sudden, all those songs made sense. Watching them, because that album for him, I think, had a little more jam band aspect.
Yeah.
Where I think you could tell, like, I think him and these dudes just, like, got in a room and started playing. And recorded the album. I don't know, but that's what it felt like. And it's like, live, where they're all just feeling, off each other here, that makes sense now.
Yeah.
And then when I went back to listen to the album, I was like, now I feel that concert,
Yeah.
So I always wondered if that's what it would be like with I blanked.
The Grateful Dead.
Grateful Dead,
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Because all these other bands I like hold them in such high esteem.
Yeah.
It's like, I should love this band, but
yeah. I think part of it is the live experience, because like a band like that, they're kind of, they have the songs, and then after these songs, or sometimes in the middle of the songs, they go on these long kind of stretchers where they'll go out there, so to speak, and they'll kind of, it's almost like they're looking for something. They're looking for a groove or a thing. And I think experiencing that live, you feel like you're a part of it, because they're so in the moment that it kind of forces you to go along with them. And I think that's usually what makes it click, is like experiencing it live, because you're like, oh, they didn't know where this was going to go, and I didn't either, but we made it to this place together.
Well, especially you as a musician, it's like you're seeing the cues, right? Like, you're seeing the dude look over his shoulder, you're seeing the other guy give the head nod, and like, and you're watching them do it, and you're really getting in with it.
Yeah.
The what's crazy is, like, a person who I really like that does just that is like Frank Zappa.
Yeah.
And he's got all these great interviews, like he seems so smug and he seems so unlikable, but when you really listen to him, you're like, actually, that's really cool. And it's like, and maybe I'm just getting smug, I don't know, but like he was talking in some interview where he's like, I've got a basic understanding of my instrument, and I know I know how to play it, and I comprehend the theory behind it.
Yeah.
He's like, so if you come to my show, you're not going to hear the same guitar solo twice.
Yeah.
He's like, we're going to create a moment right now.
Yeah.
And so it's like, God, that's really cool.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
That stuff is kind of what we go after, is like, we have our songs, but like when it comes to guitar solos, like I don't think I've ever played the solo on Fool for You the same way.
Really?
Like I try to get into a space where, I'm not trying to sound like self-important, but it's like,
go ahead.
I try to like, let the moment inform like what's going to come out. And so I think sometimes the risk is like you could fall flat on your face, and that happens.
Yeah.
But also, you're kind of holding yourself to like a higher standard of, I'm actively listening to people. I'm going to improvise this thing. I'm going to see how far I can go to the ledge without falling off of it.
That's always, I'm a guitar player, and that's
sweet.
That's always been my weakest. Like, that terrifies me.
I bet you're better at it than you
way.
realize.
Part of it, I think, is like control problems.
Yeah.
Which I think is probably why I can't get into the space of a jam band too much, right?
Yeah.
I've always been like I want to write a song.
Yeah.
I want to write a part, and like, let's execute this well.
Yeah.
And that is like the total opposite of what you just described.
Yeah, but I think that's a art in itself, Like,
yes, it's also a little uptight.
But like, if you go see, I don't know. I say this band because they're like one of my all-time favorites, but like Weezer, like the solos are going to sound like they do on the record, and that's hard.
Yeah,
that's
true. I mean, there's something cool about that, but I guess it's like grass is always greener, But the thing is, though, is you have the choice of doing it either way, which makes me jealous of your guitar playing now, right? But no, and it's like, it's like the longer I play, the more I appreciate when you see someone doing that.
Yeah.
Like for you, when you say I never do Fool for You the same way twice, or roughly the same way twice. So like when it's coming up.
Yeah.
15 seconds, we're about to hit the solo.
Yeah.
What's usually going through your mind? Like, are you thinking of like, today I want this starting point, or like what's going through your mind on stage?
Yeah. I think sometimes I'll try to listen to either what Shuford's doing on the guitar, Andrew, what he's doing on the guitar, or like singing, and maybe I take, some sort of thing he sang.
But isn't he singing the same thing usually?
He's usually singing the same thing, but maybe I'll try to think of like, oh, he sang this melody. I don't think I've ever tried to play that. Let's start there. Or sometimes it's like, let's start with like a bend that maybe goes a little past the mark, and like maybe let's see where that puts me.
Yeah.
Or sometimes it'll be like, I want this to sound like country as all hell, and so I'm gonna do some like.
Are you thinking about
stuff.
this like on the way to the venue usually, or are you just waiting till you're in that moment typically?
I'm trying to just wait.
So you're not even thinking about it like show's 2 days away, and you're like, maybe I'll do the solo this way this time.
Yeah, I try not to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's not always great. Like sometimes I'll kind of book in a solo and be like, yikes, that was terrible.
Yeah, but that's normal, natural guitar player. You always are terrible,
always
right?
Terrible. Yeah.
No, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Do you remember which show you think was your worst version of that solo that you ever played?
Oh God.
Was there one where it just haunts you still?
Yeah, there was one time we played. I think it was like one of these Christmas, like you just started playing in a band, and someone's like, "Come play in our backyard." And we're like, "Cool," and it was Christmas, and it was so cold outside, and we were just like on a plank of wood in someone's backyard, and I had been having like gear problems all night, and I was like,
"This is like the perfect show already.
This is the one song that we have out. I'm gonna show them what I'm made of," and it was just terrible, and I just like went home and was like, I should probably burn all my instruments.
Yeah. Are you even a band if you don't have that experience?
Yeah,
right?
I think it hasn't happened since, and I think it taught me something.
As you say that now, I'm like, I'm paranoid nothing's recording. But so somebody commented on this Instagram post today, and it did for a moment it didn't make sense until you were just talking about Weezer. I don't know if you read these comments.
I looked at them.
Yeah,
a little, a few hours ago.
Surprisingly, they were still coming in. Eric Kloop, do you know this person?
Eric Loop, yeah.
Eric Loop. Ask him why his favorite song is "Say It Ain't So," and it will never change.
That's awesome. I guess I like internalized that comment. Walked straight into it. Yeah. Eric's a musician that I play with. He plays bass in a band called Briscoe.
Okay,
which we've opened for a few times. He's an amazing musician, and he also runs a music academy, and I teach lessons under his kind of business. And sometimes we'll play like acoustic duo shows. We just played one at the Good Local Markets in the parking lot of this building. Yeah, and we just started like having fun. And one time I was like, dude, what if we took "Say It Ain't So" and made it like 10 minutes long? And it was just like this stupid joke. And, we've played it a few times, but never gone out.
Never went 10 minutes with it.
But I was like, I love that song so much. I would play it forever.
Dude, that whole album. I've been working on this project. I like to write some articles here and there, and I've been taking a lot of time thinking about like perfect albums, like front to back listens, things you just don't skip, and that's one of them that's on the list.
Oh, it's so good. You and Danny were talking about one that's on my list.
What's
the
that?
Boston
debut.
Dude, yeah,
I mean,
unreal.
And that's one of those. I try to only listen to it like once or twice a year.
Yes,
and then
you
it's just
ruin it for yourself.
Because every time you hear it, you're just like, how did everything sync up? How did all this talent get in the same room? And then it was also like the perfect, decade to release this type of music. And it just worked, man.
Changed everything.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. And I was looking up live videos of them because that's the letdown, right? It's like you hear this incredible voice and you're thinking, well, it
sounds like crap.
No way. And sure enough, man, he's hitting those falsettos and stuff. And you're like, God, man. And that's an album where I think like, why do I play guitar?
Yeah.
Why do I?
Absolutely.
Because it's like they put these great riffs in that aren't complicated.
Yeah.
But they're just hooks.
Yeah.
And then they write these solos, again, not massively complicated, not like this technical stuff, but they're just perfect for the moment. And you're thinking like, for me, that's always been the epitome of playing is, does it fit that song perfectly?
Absolutely.
That is always the more impressive writer,
Yeah.
And something about that album, man, it just, everything hits on it.
Yeah. Yeah. I was obsessed when I was like a kid. And then
who showed you that?
My dad.
Yeah.
My dad's a lot of the music things that I kind of hold in high regard came from him. He was a big like Dire Straits fan and Boston. And
he sounds like a great
ELO.
guy.
He's the man. But yeah, he showed me and I was like, whoa, what is this?
Yeah.
And like had like a little CD player of it. And I actually, after listening to that episode, I was like, I need to go back to it. And I just like put it on and have my guitar in my hands, was like trying to figure stuff out.
Have you ever, because I'm almost positive it's a Boston song, but have you ever, did you ever watch the South Park episode with Guitar Hero? Do you know what I'm talking about?
So.
You might be too young for that. I don't know. But anyway, all the kids are getting obsessed with Guitar Hero.
Yeah.
And so they're in the living room, Guitar Hero, all these classic rock songs are playing and stuff, and they're getting hyped about it. And one of the kids' dads is like, "You guys like this stuff?" And he's like, "Yeah." So he like pulls out like an amp and a Les Paul, and he starts playing the actual riff.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm pretty sure it's like a Boston song. If it's not, it's close to it. And they're all just like, "God, that's so lame. Like, what are you doing?" Like, nobody plays real guitar.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. So it always makes me happy when people younger than me are like listening to that. I think that's one of the greatest eras of music ever.
Oh, for sure.
It just, I think it's just because they were selling records and the studios had money to record things and take chances on things. And then radio was huge.
Yeah.
So all these people were listening to this just wide, swath of good music coming out all the time.
Absolutely. Yeah, we started covering Jessica by the Allman Brothers.
Yeah.
And it was like when we first started playing together, we were like one day. And I think we're finally at the point where we're like, yeah, we feel pretty good about taking on songs like that. But like we'll play it and someone after will be like, "I haven't heard that song since Guitar Hero." And you're like, dang, that's so cool.
Also, like, what a weird reference.
Yeah,
I haven't heard it since Guitar Hero. Like now Guitar Hero's vintage music.
Yeah. We were playing this private party a few weeks ago at a brewery. And we got done playing and we like ended with that song.
Yeah.
And we were kind of like cleaning up and just like finishing our beers. And the bartender was like cleaning up. And we were like, "Oh, sorry, do we need to get out of here?" And he was like, "Nah, y'all play Jessica. You're cool.
Hell
you can just stay."
You got cred now. Yeah. Oh my God. If y'all are playing songs like that, a spot that would be great for y'all just is y'all should find these record stores, these vinyl record stores that have stages where you get real deep cut music lovers there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like here locally, there's plenty of options. It's like there's Good Records has a small stage. I think Spinster. I don't know if y'all could fit on that stage. It's really small.
Spinster. That's the one in Bishop Arts, right?
Yeah. And that's a smaller store, and I think their stage is like right in the corner. But if y'all wanted to tuck it in and have like a fun show, you could probably make it work. And then there's Josie Lane Records. They've got a huge stage there.
That's a great idea.
But y'all could like kind of regionally get out to other record stores.
Yeah.
Because if y'all are playing these kind of deep cuts, people who are just flipping through records are going to be like, "What are they playing?"
Yeah.
They're going to have that same moment Jacob Marshall talked about. That might be y'all's greatest asset is that you love music, so you'll turn some heads just by playing songs you like that other people like too.
Yeah, and again, going back to like some of our favorite artists kind of do that, like I'm trying to think of an example, but like, even the Allman Brothers would cover some stuff that was like, their favorite music, not necessarily, "Oh, this is going to be a hit with the audience. They're going to know this one."
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's more of like people are understanding that the person who's playing me this music right now has a real appreciation for music.
Yeah.
Not just like, "I think the crowd will love it."
Yeah,
that's a good
I
point.
think I'm going to play this, top 40 thing so everyone knows what it is. Yeah, it's kind of the opposite.
I just saw a clip with Eminem where he's talking to this old rapper that I don't know anything about. This guy named DOC, who was like huge to the rap game, like I guess late 80s era. And like I'd seen his name around, but I never listened to the music.
Yeah.
But watching them interact, he was asking him about lyrics. He's like, "This one song you had," and then Eminem starts just going off on the lyrics. And then he gets to a certain part and he's like, "But I never understood this lyric. What are you saying there?" And he's like, "Oh, I say this, this, this." And he's like, "Oh." And it's like, but then you flip through the comments and it's like all these people were now having like a new appreciation of Eminem, that he actually loved that music that deeply. That it's like out of nowhere, he just pulled out this lyric. Like you only know that lyric if you've been listening to that record for decades.
Yeah.
And same kind of thing where it's just like, I think people just want to see that you're happy to be playing music, that you love music.
Yeah. That was going to be my other point is like, I feel like there's a pretty high probability if you're really into it and you're having a fun time that other people would, I don't know, not to sound hippy dippy, but like be in tune with the energy you're kind of putting off.
Well, do y'all play many shows with other bands right now? Like,
Not
do you
ton.
get? Have you been in a band where you're on those shows where there's like 4 or 5 bands in one night?
We've had a few of those. Yeah.
There's always that one band that's burnout.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and they're there and they're just going through the motions and they're having a terrible time, but they're trying to pretend they're having fun.
Yeah, exactly.
And it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work. The crowd feels it and they're just like, it's a good time to get a beer, go to the bathroom.
They're like not buying it.
Yeah. You have to enjoy it or don't even get up there,
Totally.
Because we've had some friends who played like in the country music circuit.
Oh, cool.
Where they're more of like a hired gun. It's like this singer-songwriter just hires them and they're on tour for, 200 days out of the year. And that's how they all, like, we went to a show to go support them.
Yeah.
But that's what it was. It's like, they didn't write this music. They don't care about this music. They're not really invested in it. And what was crazier is like one of the friends who, great bass player, he just did not like country music. But he's touring, playing with the country music because the check's okay and he's playing. And it's like, I never had the heart to tell him, like, it's like, dude, like, you look like you hate playing this music when you're up there. It's like, you're smiling and you're singing he would sing like backup vocals and stuff. It's like, but nobody's really convinced. It's like, I never understood it because it's, like, music is fun. Why are you having to fake this?
Totally.
Even if it's a song you really don't like, you're still playing an instrument. It's like, this is a fun this is stuff that people don't get to do,
For sure.
Do you remember? Of course you do, but when did guitar even come into your mind? Like, how old were you when it's like, I want to play this instrument?
I was in 5th grade, I think. I don't know how old you are in 5th grade.
Yeah, me
Maybe
neither.
9 or 10. I don't know.
That sounds good.
Yeah, we'll go with that. And I think it was like, I think I saw something with like Jimi Hendrix on the TV.
Wow,
and I was like, whoa, what is this? And it like hooked me.
Okay. Before you go further though,
yeah.
Did you have a concept of music before you saw Jimi Hendrix on the TV? Like, were you?
I think so.
Like, do you remember like listening to music and thinking like, oh, I like this music or something? Okay.
I remember my dad would be like, I'd get off the school bus and the stop was like 3 houses down, and I could like get off the bus and hear music coming from our house.
Oh,
because he'd just be like out in the yard doing yard work or whatever.
Yeah,
and it's just like blaring Pink Floyd. Like I can hear it from 3 houses down.
Well, that's what I was asking because. It's like, even when you already listen to music, Jimi Hendrix is a wild experience the first time you hear it.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Okay, so sorry. So you heard Jimi Hendrix. That kind of blew your mind.
And I was like, I think I want to buy a guitar. And so I like saved up some money, and my mom and my grandma and I would just like get lunch after church every Sunday. Mm-hmm. And then one day I like went next door to the music store, and I was like, I think I'm going to buy this guitar.
Is this in Georgia?
Yeah, this is in Georgia.
What's the name of the music store? You got to remember that,
I think it was just Music and Arts.
Music and Arts?
Yeah.
Is it still there, you think? Or is it probably...
Yeah, it's still there.
It's still there?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Go check out Music and Arts.
Go check out Music and Arts. And I just like walked in and I was like, I've been saving my money. I want to buy that guitar. And they were like, okay, well, we'll buy you a lesson if you buy a guitar right now. And I was like, okay, cool. So I took a lesson with a guy named Brad.
What was the first guitar?
It was a Epiphone, like Les Paul copy.
Yeah.
I still have it.
Yeah. Well, that's like great guitar.
Yeah. It served me well.
Epiphones have always been sleepers. Like, people know once you start playing, you're like, no, Epiphones are great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because now I find myself wanting to buy another Epiphone because it's like this full circle. I'm like, they're nice guitars and they're affordable.
Just like a real side, like I bought a guitar when I was 18. So the first couple guitars I owned were just off brands. I had this off, like I bought it out of like I don't even know what you call it. It was almost like a flea market.
Yeah.
And it was just some off-brand company named Lotus.
Oh, cool.
And so the first guitar I bought was a Les Paul that was made by this company. Lotus. Super heavy because it's made out of whatever off-brand wood they could get, And I was buying it from a guitar store that I didn't realize was going out of business. So like it was missing like a volume knob, and I bought it around like Christmas or something. And they're like, "Oh yeah, we're getting knobs in like in 2 weeks. Come back." And they were closed down.
Oldest trick in the book.
Yeah, they were just trying to sell me whatever they could, And so I had that for a while, and then I didn't know anything about brands of guitars.
Yeah.
I didn't know like a Fender or whatever, and so I was learning how to play, and I was at some kind of flea market or something, and there was another Lotus brand guitar, which is like, I don't know how this company made that many of them.
Yeah.
And it was a Stratocaster. It was like a white one. So I bought that, and then I had those up forever. But the first time I bought a guitar that was kind of like a name brand guitar, I was 18, and I bought this semi-hollow body Ibanez that had like a double cutaway around the neck. So it wasn't quite as big as like a... like a Gibson, like a, what is it, like a 335? Those are a little bigger.
The big.
It was kind of a little smaller. So it looked like it was kind of in between like the size of like a SG and one of those, but it had the double cutaway kind of like the SG. It was real fun.
Cool.
And at the time I was playing punk rock music and people weren't really playing a guitar like that. So it kind of stood out in a fun way.
Yeah.
It was like $350.
Yeah.
You know, it was just this entry level guitar. And to this day, it's like something about when you pick that up.
Yeah.
Just all the years, all the time you put on it, it just plays. It doesn't play well, but you play well with it.
But you feel, yeah.
You're so connected to it.
Yeah.
And for my birthday this year, my wife bought me like a really nice Telecaster.
Oh, sweet.
It's the nicest guitar I've ever.
Amazing.
I used to like buy and sell some guitars that were expensive, but I never really played them. I just kind of like bought it, got rid of it. This is the first one I bought to like play. It was like brand new. It shipped from Fender.
Oh, sweet.
And it's like, I love the way it plays.
Yeah.
But I'm like kind of scared to play it still. You know what I mean? Like it's so nice. You're like, I'm only used to crappy guitars.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you know, I haven't reached that point where it's gotten its first little nick in the paint, or you know, where you're like, okay, I can play now.
Yeah.
Because I played on that Ibanez forever and I loved it. And then a friend sold me a made in Mexico Telecaster for $150.
Nice.
Had chips, scratches. It was great.
Yeah.
And that you could just play the crap out of it. Didn't matter. Oh, it fell over. Oh, it's okay.
Still in tune. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah.
And this one, I'm just still. It's like I put it in the case, shut the lid. You know, softly and like
kiss it goodnight.
Dude, I bought a strap for it, just a strap.
Oh yeah.
And it's like I was looking online at straps, and I was like, well, I can't buy that one. The way that rivet is situated, it might scratch it. And it's like, who are you?
Yeah.
But yeah, something about that old first guitar, you know, they just play so well, and they shouldn't. So I can imagine how that Epiphone Les Paul is just like, it's always like if you're struggling to write something, you're like, let me pick this one up.
Yeah.
Let me see what's going on here.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first amp you had paired with that? Was it just like a little practice amp?
Yeah, it was like a Marshall MG, which I thought was cool because it was my initials. It's like a CD10. It's just like a little tiny,
little cheap solid state amp.
Yeah. I
had
actually
some gain on it, probably. Yeah,
for sure.
I hear you.
I actually played it the other day. I was teaching someone some stuff, and I was like, "Oh, bring this thing out."
Nice.
It was just like fun to have.
Yeah, man, that's awesome that you've kept that.
Yeah.
So you started. Did you start you said they gave you a free lesson.
Yes.
Did you stay with the lessons?
I did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so it was funny. The guy who I took a lesson from, he was like, "I'm here every Tuesday or whatever," and so I got lessons from him every week. And then he was like, "I'm thinking about opening my own sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, would you like, let me pitch you on this?
Would you come with me?"
Yeah. And I remember he like pitched me on it a few different times, and he's like, "It's this place. It's called The Stage. It has since closed, which is very sad. But he was like, it would be just like a place where we could come, we could practice, and it had a stage. So like a couple times a year, we'll pick a song, we'll pick some people who like want to learn that song, and then we'll put on like a concert."
So he was doing School of Rock before School of Rock.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow, I like this guy. He sounds like a motivated, like he's got the right idea. He's got hustle.
Yeah, and he had like summer camps where we would like kind of learn how to, record stuff. We filmed some like pretty silly music videos, and it was just like a fun thing to be a part of as like a middle schooler.
Dude, that's what you need when you're learning too.
Yeah,
because that's why most people quit, right?
Yeah,
playing in your bedroom. I mean, I don't know. I always tell people, like, it probably takes you at least a year. Especially like now that we're adults, people are always like, "Hey, can you teach me how to play?" And you're like, probably not.
Yeah.
It's like you've got work and obligations. It's like, are you committed to like minimum 3 nights a week, 1 hour, and
like
then,
intentional practice, too, not just like hanging around.
Like you're going to do that for a year. And then you'll finally like know how to play some chords. Yeah. And you'll sound like you're bad at guitar.
Yeah. You'll text me saying you want to quit about 60 times.
Why do my fingers hurt? Like that, that kind of nonsense. It's like, it's so.
It's quite the hurdle. Like it's kind of uphill for a good bit of time.
That first part is the toughest.
It's hard. Yeah.
That's why at least, so like I was in that zone. I don't remember how long it was, but like my closest childhood friend, that's what it was over, is his sister was my age and he's younger, and she found out I was playing guitar, learning guitar.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, my brother's learning bass." And so we were just learning like Green Day songs or something. Yeah. Just like anything that was a power chord and easy is what we were trying to learn.
For sure.
And we're sitting there just like, "Oh wow, like I think we can play in sync if we like together if we work really hard on it."
Yeah, totally.
And it's like if it wasn't for that, probably would have quit.
Yeah.
Not, if you weren't able to play horrible songs with a friend.
For sure.
And,
not be judged.
Yeah. Like I wish I had a recording of any of those just to see how bad it was,
Yeah.
But yeah, we were terrible, man. Like, you know what was a real defining moment is, I forgot about this till just now. The first time we played for any other people, right? We had learned, man, what's that Green Day song where it's like, Dunna, Dunna.
Oh,
the one everybody plays.
Stew?
Yeah,
Dunna,
Dunna, Dunna. I'm having trouble trying to sleep.
Yeah.
Okay, right. And it's like that riff has been used by so many different bands over decades, right? But we figured out that, okay, which is not too difficult.
Yeah.
But it's like the first thing you figured out. Dude, this was before cell phones were like super mainstream and everything, right? So we had a fucking landline phone. Do you know what that is?
Yes.
Okay, all right. I'm just trying to size you up here. And we would randomly call, like we knew the area code, and then we would just dial random numbers. And we'd be like, and we'd be like, hey, we're like little kids. We're like, we're learning to play music, and we want to know if you want to check it out. And like we would play a little bit of that song, and like I don't know who these people were, but they stayed on the phone.
That's awesome.
And we're like trying to like sing a little bit and stuff, and they're like, "It's keep at it. Like you guys sound like you're having a good time." And it's like now that I'm an adult, I'm like, who were these saints that would let us play for them over a phone? Because if somebody randomly dialed me now and did that, I'd be like, okay, bye.
Yeah, take me off your list.
Yeah. I'd be like, I don't know how you're getting credit card information from a Green Day song, but I'm not giving it to you.
Yeah. That's like the best cold call ever, though.
Yeah.
Like I would be like, oh, cool.
I mean, I guess, man, I forgot about it until just now.
Much better than like my car's extended warranty.
Yeah, but dude, we were psyched about it. Just like somebody heard our progress,
Yeah,
and
an audience.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So was that your kind of first show? Was with the stage, that guy's facility?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And so I can't remember what we played. Oh, I think we played Bulls on Parade.
I like this guy a lot. I like this guy a lot.
He's the man. Yeah.
The only thing that would make this better and funnier would be if you told me he was like the lead singer while you were doing this.
Oh, the thing is, he would do anything. And so, we were like kids. And so someone would be like, I'm supposed to play drums on Bulls on Parade, but like, I'm really nervous. And so he'd be like, all right, I'll play drums. And then like by the end of the night, if you want to get up there and we can play the song again, maybe you'll feel better. And so he'd like get up and he'd play drums or he'd sing. I think he actually did sing Bulls on Parade.
Awesome. I hope this guy, like when that closed, moved on to something bigger and better because he sounds pretty awesome.
I need to reach out to him. I actually saw him, oddly enough, fast forward like 10 years, I was at the stage still taking lessons. This was like in high school. And someone he hired to teach lessons like would kind of sub for my normal guitar teacher.
Yeah.
And then I went to college, came back, was living in the same town. And this guy who I used to kind of take sub lessons from would play at bars and stuff around town. And we'd become like friends again. And so he would just be like, hey, come sit in or come do this thing. I'm playing here. I don't have any budget to pay you. So just like come hang. And so I'd sit in. And then one of these nights, Brad came, like the guy who started the stage.
Yeah.
And he was like, I haven't seen you since you were like a kid. Do you want to come back and like be the first ever student and teacher? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. That sounds awesome. And he was like, I have this whole vision for everything. And then COVID happened. And he had to close the stage.
That's why it shut down because of COVID. Oh my God. And you said you've been going there for like 10 years?
Something like that. Yeah. I started going when I was in...
So like from sixth grade
maybe? Sixth grade until like end of high school-ish.
Wow. Yeah. Dude. That, man, I mean, I'm not going to go on a COVID thing. But when this podcast was going during COVID, and it's like it was everything to not talk about COVID.
Yeah. Well, that's what's funny.
But like we're still finding out about businesses that just couldn't.
For sure.
You know what pisses me off when I hear that?
Yeah.
Is I promise it's not like a political rant.
You're fine.
I'm like, you know what? No. I have a son, and he's little. He went to he's 5 now, but we went to some kid's like 4-year-old Chuck E. Cheese birthday party.
Nice. Yeah.
And I didn't know Chuck E. Cheese was still around. Right? This was like a thing from my childhood, but I was thinking like this is going to be like a sad experience.
If there's anything that should have died during COVID.
Yeah. No. It has been around since the 70s.
Really?
Chuck E. Cheese made it through COVID somehow. And these lessons, we couldn't figure it out.
Wow,
and that will
Chuck E. Cheese.
That will always astonish me that Chuck E. Cheese made it
That's why
the country needed Chuck E. Cheese so bad.
So bad.
All these other businesses shut down, but Chuck E. Cheese, they've made it through. Because I did a deep dive on like their whole history, and I was like, I can't believe they've been here since like the late 70s.
That's crazy.
It's like an institution, I guess.
Yeah. That's wild to think about. Yeah.
And I was expecting to go in and see like a grimy, like rundown, like, ooh, this is going to be rough.
It's going to be sad, yeah.
And no, it looks like they're making money. It was like clean. They had workers that all looked presentable. And I was like, how's it so hard to start like a normal business? But pizza and a ball pit, like
some dude in a rat costume.
Yeah, man. Yeah, some sad teenagers came out in the costume during the birthday party and is just doing the dance like you do. But that's awesome. That made it. Meanwhile, this guy like creating these moments for children with like music and build it. It's like, I got to shut it down.
Yeah.
It'll always blow my mind that was the just the facts of it, the reality of it.
Yeah. It's really sad.
I mean, lessons, right? You can put a mask, we can separate.
Yeah, we could do them online.
Chuck E. Cheese, you're climbing through tubes. Children, super spreaders. How did they make it?
Yeah.
Like,
anyway. It might have started at Chuck E. Cheese, COVID, with the pizza. I don't know.
Maybe the pizza was the cure all along.
Yeah, it probably was.
No one ever got COVID at Chuck E. Cheese. Yeah. But anyway, so that shut down during COVID, and then you're done there, right?
Yeah. It was just, it kind of stopped before it even started.
So what happened after that? Playing wise, I mean.
Playing wise. I was laid off from my job, and I remember with my severance check, I was like, I'm going to buy another guitar. Mm-hmm. So I bought an SG, because I was deep in the Allman Brothers at that time, and like Derek Trucks and all things slide. And so that was kind of like what I did throughout COVID, was like, I would kind of like woodshed guitar, and there's nothing else to do. And also at some point, in 2021, I guess it was January of 21, I moved here. So I was kind of living with my parents, and then COVID happened, and I was like, I've never had a yearning to like live anywhere else except for right now. And so I had some friends out here and had visited a couple times, and then was like, I'm going to take the plunge. And so I found some people to live with, and moved out here in 2021 and kind of continued playing a lot of guitar. I was working for a startup, and like, was kind of just like freelancing. Like I was just, if I could get hours, I would work. If not, I was just like, all right, I'm going to play some guitar. And then I kind of met the guys in the band. And so one night, one of my roommates had known Andrew, our singer, through, I guess, just like mutual friends. And just like brought him over, and we had some people over, and he was like, hey, I saw in your room, you had a few guitars. Do you like play? I have the same amp, and we kind of just like struck up a conversation. And he was like, well, I'm living alone at this, at this apartment, and like I have all these instruments. He like bought a drum set, even though he doesn't play, just to like invite people over. Yeah. And so he just like invited me over one night, and then I'm like standing outside of his apartment, and there's like another guy standing there with a guitar and like the same amp. And I was like, hey man, are you here for Andrew? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, cool, sweet. And so I immediately was like, I knew Andrew played guitar. This random dude I just met played guitar. I was like, this probably isn't going to work out. Like, I'll see myself
I've been
out.
Replaced before it started.
Yeah. And so he went in there, and
such a musician thought, by the way.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Couldn't possibly be that we're all going to jam and hang out.
And have a fun time.
Yeah, and be like, we all love guitar, man. This is great. It's got to be like, wow, you found someone else.
Yeah. And
he heard that Rage Against the Machine cover somehow, and I'm doomed.
He found it from the depths of YouTube, 2009. And so we like played, and we kind of were like, oh, we want to start a band, but like 3 guitars, it kind of doesn't make sense. And then Carter, who plays keys for us, was like, I just started playing keys like within the last year or so. And we were like, all right, man. And he got like over to the keyboard and just like started playing some like classical stuff.
He's one of those who's just good.
He is. Yeah. He can like, it's crazy to see him from that moment. I know, so inconsiderate. From that moment until now, because he'll just like look over at me and be like, that's a pretty cool chord. You know what that is? And I'm like, I have no clue what that is. But it like fits perfectly.
Yeah.
And he can kind of just like hear things and arrange things. And so that was kind of like the genesis of the band.
Okay.
was this.
So you said this was like 2021, 2022?
Yeah, this
well, it had to be 2021 because the recordings are 22, yeah.
Yeah, this would have been like, I think March or April of 21.
So y'all went pretty quickly then from forming a band to recording a couple songs and releasing them. So that makes more sense now why because y'all kind of got that out fast while you're still settling in as like, what is this?
Yeah, and I think the timing was kind of like, we played our first show as a band in June. Mm-hmm. And then I think it was maybe fall of that year or spring of next year where we went into the studio and started recording stuff.
Wow.
And then it was out by fall of 22. And that was kind of the goal, was just to get stuff out there because...
So what, were y'all just jamming? Like, were y'all doing this all at that apartment?
No, we eventually...
I was going to say, the neighbors had to be pissed.
Oh, yeah. I think there was a long time where we would just like rent places.
Yeah.
Like Pro Rehearsal was a place that we rented over by Community Beer Garden. I think that's since closed.
Yeah.
But
I don't know what made it.
Yeah. We would just like kind of rent places and, you know, try to figure stuff out. And
that's a tough way to write music together though, where you're kind of on the clock.
Totally.
Were you renting like a monthly room or were you renting it like Saturday we're going to meet up?
It was literally like, you know, Monday.
Because I used to rent one of those rooms down in Deep Ellum where it was just a monthly rate and you could access it 24 hours a day, and those were great. But
that probably would have been the smart thing.
I mean, I don't know, but I've never been in that situation where it's like, we're going to show up today. We only have this amount of time. It's like sometimes that pressure is very helpful. You know, of like, we got to be out of here by 8, so let's get on it. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there were definitely times where it helped. But then there are times where you're like, you go in there and you're like, we're going to get X, Y, and Z done. And then you don't even get X done. And you're like, yeah, maybe this is a terrible idea. Like all of it, you just go into the dumps.
I knew it from the moment I saw that guitar player.
You guys suck and I'm terrible. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a real, why do you think y'all were so, I don't know the right word for it, but
stupid.
Yeah. I wanted to say something like confident or something, but it was going to sound like an insult. But you know, like a lot of bands, it's like they'll get together, they'll play for like 2 years before they get the nerve to like, let's record it, let's just do it.
Yeah.
What do you think was the difference with y'all that you decided like, we're playing, I'm having a good time, let's record music, let's play shows? And why do you think you weren't as hesitant as some other bands are?
I don't know. That's a really good question.
Because that's kind of odd to go from we just met to we're talking about a year.
Yeah.
And we're playing shows, recording music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was probably, so Carter, our keys player and vocalist, and Andrew, our guitar player and vocalist, they kind of split frontman and like vocal duties. And they'd both been in their own bands in college. And so I think the two of them were kind of just like, if we want to do this, we need to get out there. Like, we need to get out in front of people. And I think there was even a conversation at some point of like, if we want to be the band our friends like rally behind, then like we need to start getting out there. We need to start getting in front of them. And the first show we ever played, we didn't have a band name. We couldn't decide on one. Excuse me. And so a friend just like had us in their backyard, and it was like billed as a backyard naming party. And so there's literally just like a legal pad in front of the stage, and people would just like write names, and then people voted on what name they wanted it to be, and that's how we got the band name. And then it was just like, okay, well now we got to like do it. Like the thing that was holding us back of like not having a name, now we can kind of like pitch to places to start playing.
We told them we would do it, and they showed up.
Exactly.
We got to do it. Dude, what a great way. I love it, man. Yeah, because you're always curious about how band names come around. Yeah. Usually I don't ask that question.
Yeah.
Just because it's like, I don't know, it seems like it's like a personal thing with the band, or maybe listeners already have an idea. So I'm like, people will figure it out whenever they figure it out. Yeah. But I love that story, man. That's pretty great.
It's been kind of cool. It's kind of been like our North Star in a sense, because it's like, yeah, it's our band, but it's like our friends also had a hand in creating it. Yeah. And like, I think that's something that we try to come back to is like, yeah, it's what we like to do for fun, but we also, have these people that were a part of what felt like the beginning to us.
I swear to God, you're just making me so happy right now. Like, because the era of music, like when I was 18, right? It's like, I was in this punk rock band, and we had a similar moment, right? So we've been playing shows we're from a smaller town, like northeast of here by like an hour.
Cool.
And there weren't like venues like Dallas has, right?
Yeah.
So we would always be driving into these towns like Rockwall, or we'd go to Louisville if they had a venue. But we were trying to play as much as we could.
Yeah.
And then we had this moment where we were just like, you know, we're bringing friends to shows. The real thing is like, do strangers like you?
Yeah.
You know, and like, we don't know if we're really good until we play for people we don't know. And so we just decided like, we're going to work multiple jobs. We're going to record something. It was CDs then. So we're going to print up CDs and we're going to, you know, book a tour and just see what happens out there.
Yeah.
And we had the privilege of CDs, right? You can't really do that now. And so it's really harder. It's hard for musicians to fund tours now.
Yeah.
But what was great back then is you would do house shows, or you'd go on like, you know, social media at the time was like MySpace. And so it's like you're reaching out like, we're this band and we'll give you a show if you guys. And everybody was like super helpful because there was this huge community effort with it. It was great. And that's what a lot of it was, right? Is you'd show up to a show. You don't really even know these people, but you felt like you were kind of all in it together.
Yeah. Because
somebody produced it at this offbeat venue that doesn't do music, and they want it to be good. They invited their friends. They want their friends to have a good time. And then you felt that pressure, like, I want it to be great.
Yeah.
And I thought that was dead. You know, that like, you just can't really do a lot of that anymore. It's hard to do it, you know?
Yeah.
And it just feels like music is so much harder for y'all right now than like the way we could do it back then.
For sure.
Because you could DIY stuff so well. And it's like,
yeah.
Even though you can get your music on Spotify and everyone has access, and you can get on social media and everyone has access, you're also just in the sea of noise all the time.
For sure.
You know? But then it's like, I hear you talking about this, and this is right after I just did like kind of a deep dive on, have you seen what the All-American Rejects are doing lately?
So cool.
Incredible.
So
and like
cool.
For people who don't know, they're pissed off that companies like Ticketmaster, who kind of have a monopoly on venues and ticket prices, and they're charging these absurd ticket fees, and then the bands aren't really even getting a high percentage of that, and it's kind of killing, you know, the touring that bands used to be able to do.
Yeah.
And you're having this huge separation from your band and your fans, and that ultimately kills live music, right?
Yeah.
So to see them doing like these house shows and playing in like bowling alleys, but you see that, right? Those clips, you see that energy where everyone in that crowd and the band feel like they're having that connected moment.
For sure.
The same one you described where they're like, you're like, we're playing at this house.
Yeah.
They're passing around the legal pad. People are like, we're going to decide a band name tonight.
Yeah.
This is happening. It's like, it's happening.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, that's that connection. Maybe it's just because you grew up with that music, you know, that your dad was showing you.
Yeah.
Because all that music had that feeling.
For sure.
You know, it's before social media, before phones. People would just show up to a concert and you're just all kind of connected.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
It's exciting that y'all have kind of tapped into that. It makes me really hopeful to hear you saying that about like a newer band.
Yeah.
Where y'all are feeling that kind of energy of, like you were saying, you know, we feel like it's a community, like a group thing.
Totally.
Which sounds so like you said, hippy dippy kind of.
Yeah.
But it really, that's a lot of what's missing from music. Like you don't get that just by watching reels all day or
For sure.
listening to it on Spotify. It's like you got to go to that show and get involved with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's hard, you know, music, like you kind of said, music is like in a different place now. And like, you know, I think some people look at music and they're like, oh, you guys must be like making so much money. And it's like, not really. There's not a lot of money in music.
We lose a lot of money.
Yeah. And we all work desk jobs. Like this isn't what we do full time, you know? And so it like, you kind of have to make it work. And it's a lot of work. You know, we don't have a booking agent. We don't have a manager.
Mm-hmm.
You know, any sort of like label thing is like something we set up, you know? And so it is a lot of work, but I think that makes the rewards even better, I would say.
That reminds me of one of the questions somebody asked. Let me see where it is.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, this is from Jacob Marshall.
Oh, shout out.
What do you think what do you think needs to happen to grow the band's following? Like what's the thing y'all talk about where you're like, if we do this, this might work?
Yeah. I think, honestly, you kind of brought it up just a few minutes ago of, like, playing to strangers. You know, we've been so fortunate with, like, our friends and stuff that they literally come to so many shows.
That's awesome.
You know, there's people who come to our shows that have been coming to our shows since literally that time in the backyard.
Hell yeah.
And that's amazing. But it's like, you know, life happens and people get married and they move away and, you know, they get busy. And so it's like, how do we tap into that market that's, you know, just wanting a favorite band, but may not know that that's what they want? And so we've kind of, we have a rehearsal space, and we've started to set it up in a place where we can start making some content, and like maybe that goes to TikTok, maybe that's live streams, maybe that's these kind of sessions where we can record stuff. I know you have like this one mic kind of thing.
Yeah, we did that a couple years ago. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
And so it's like starting to leverage things like that, and especially social media to, I don't know, kind of reach a wider audience. And like I've seen bands like Penelope Road out of Atlanta just like blow up on TikTok, and they're doing some crazy stuff, like really really good band, and they're seeing rewards from it. But I think it's kind of a double-edged sword of like, you can fall pretty deep into the social media trap, and like if you're not ready for that attention, it can be pretty hard.
Yeah. I think a lot about it with we have musicians and comics on here, and you'll have a lot of parallels in terms of trying to grab an audience.
Totally.
And you're both playing that game of like, I just want to do this artistic thing and play it for people. I didn't realize I was going to have to be like my manager and this social media content creator, and I need to learn how to work these cameras and all this, blah, 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 blah. Everybody's going through that struggle, right?
Yeah.
Especially knowing this catalog of classic rock music, I think a lot about before this era of this stuff, where now we know everyone so intimately, right? I'm going to know your name. It's like, oh, Matt's got a dog or something, like, oh, I have a dog, and a bunch of us, it makes sense on paper to go like, oh yeah, the more intimately they know you, the more they connect with you, and then they become fans.
Yeah.
But then I think about all those bands that are just beloved, right?
Yeah.
You didn't know anything about them.
No.
All you saw was the picture in the CD jacket or the vinyl jacket or the cassette, whatever it was for that era, for that generation. And there was everything was just shrouded in mystery.
Yeah.
And you just started filling in the blanks yourself, even if it was wrong. It's like, oh, I bet they do this or that.
Yeah.
Or, oh, I thought they looked like this. They look like this?
Yeah.
Whoa, that's interesting, And there might only be, 40 pictures of whoever that band is at the time that, because they had to get a professional photographer, because it's like nobody just has that camera right now.
Yeah.
And I do wonder sometimes if it's like a good idea or a horrific idea to be like, okay, don't worry about your social media that much.
Yeah.
Just go play a bunch of live shows.
Yeah.
Sell some shirts and stuff in public, and like to where it's just kind of how like Danny and Jacob did to me. They're like, oh, this band, because Danny didn't say you should check him out on Spotify. He was like, you got to go to a show.
Yeah.
That's how he sold it. And so part of me always wonders, like, would that be an interesting route where there's not a lot available? You're just trying to, like, it's just word of mouth telling people to go to shows.
Yeah.
Or if you talk to a band who's like, yeah, we did that for like a year and it was horrible.
Yeah.
But I mean, I like the idea of like, I wonder how much, if you're consistently playing at least.
Yeah.
Got a show. You're using social media for playing, but you're not just dumping everything out there constantly.
Yeah.
I wonder if that would create where it's enough mystery and enough, like you're creating those moments you were talking about.
For sure.
It's like you're not beating your fans over the head, so they're like, "Oh no, I heard they're playing another one. We need to go see that."
Yeah.
They haven't played here in 3 months. We got to go check it out.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's easy to talk about it here in a room and be like, it would probably work.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think you're hitting on something that's definitely been a conversation of ours of like, what is the balance?
Yeah.
We all are pretty busy with life outside of music, and so it's like, we can't go play 40 shows over the next 3 months, and so it has to be a little bit more calculated. But what does that mean, and like what's worth our time?
Yeah, there's a handful of bands here locally that like I know people say this type of statement because they just like a band. But like there are a couple bands where it's like, no, this is not my own personal love of this band. It's like they are talented enough; they should be known on a national level. They are as talented, if not more talented, not just with their instruments. Just songwriting is so good. Like these are hits that just aren't being experienced outside of DFW like they should.
Yeah,
and I think that's their biggest problem. It's like
for sure
they've got jobs, they've got families, and it's the same thing. Like one of them broke it down to me. He's like, okay, let's say, pick your huge famous band. Let's say we get to go, open for Weezer on this tour. It's like, okay, we're going to clear, even if we made like $300,000 off that tour for 6 months.
Yeah.
Well, we still got to split it between us. We got bills at home.
Yeah.
We got family that's depending on us. And then after that tour, if we don't get immediately picked up on another tour, I quit my job.
Yeah.
I don't have any more money coming in. And it's like just that hurdle of like, Jesus, how do you even make that happen anymore? It feels like we lost a couple rungs on the ladder of how you go from playing locally to I can do this for a living and support my family while creating it all. And I mean, do you guys just do like, are you just trying to be weekend warriors and just we play Saturdays? I mean, how does that work for y'all?
I think so. I mean, that's generally what we try to do, and you know, we'll also take weekday stuff. We're kind of at the stage of life now where like, you know, everyone we know is like either getting married or, you know, people are planning trips or like whatever, and so a lot of weekends fill up pretty quick.
Yeah.
So we have to kind of like block those out, but we've also kind of like romanticized like a Thursday residency, you know, every Thursday at Barley House. And it's like, that sounds like that would be so much fun.
Y'all would do really well there.
So maybe that's kind of the next thing.
That's kind of what I was, like I said, I don't know if it's right or wrong.
Yeah.
You know, when you go talk to your bandmates, they might be like, what the hell does he know? You know, and I understand that.
Yeah.
I respect that. But it does make me wonder, instead of like overdoing it with social media, it's like just do those residencies where you can.
Yeah.
Build your fan base so that the next time you roll through, it's like, oh my God, I remember these guys. We got to go.
Yeah.
And maybe you can build that fan base up enough to where when it is time for y'all to take a bigger jump and think about like, you know, weaving in a tour or something with your careers, that maybe it's more possible.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Instead of just, I mean, because the social media grind is just, ugh.
Oh, it's time consuming and it's
and
I mean,
like, well, and especially, you know, you got like 5 or 6 songs out right now.
Yeah.
How many videos are we really going to make about this right now?
I know.
How many? Like, it's different when you're an established thing with established band with, you know, 3 albums and you can pull content and we're on tour and it's like, yeah. But I mean, at some point, aren't you just burning yourself out and your fans out if you just start cranking all that? I mean,
and I think some of it too is like, you know, we've kind of made the mantra like come to a show.
Yeah.
So if we're saying come to a show or just get on Instagram, it's different, you know? It's a different approach.
Well, especially knowing your background, like I haven't got to watch you live yet, and I'm already feeling like, okay, I'm missing a lot out of these recordings. Just like we talked about with Grateful Dead and these other bands, it's like there's something live that I'm not experiencing yet that's going to make me like it more. You know,
I hope so. That's the goal.
Yeah. Or you'll play one of the worst improv solos I've ever heard.
And you'll delete this podcast episode. Yeah.
I won't even walk by your house anymore with my dog. I'll be like,
walk the other way.
I got to go down a different street.
Can't be friends anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. It's nobody's got the right answer, I guess.
Yeah.
But it does feel like it sucks so much of the fun out of just playing.
For sure.
And like I feel for bands trying to do that right now.
Yeah.
And my like seriously, one of my goals, it's like I really hope this podcast gets big enough that I can just go, hey, listen to this band, and now you're famous. And you can go on the road.
Awesome. Yeah.
Let me see. I want to see what you had a bunch of questions, man. People really want to know about you.
Yeah. Some of those are the ones I saw were just my friends goofing on.
Of course. How did you become so damn handsome? Yeah.
Yikes.
We already talked about some of your biggest musical influences. That one, I already know your answer, so we're not going to ask it. Oh, yeah. Who's your favorite professor from the University of West Georgia?
Dr. Virgil.
Yeah,
I say that because there's 2 Dr. Virgils.
Well, this one's Eric with a H.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was a father and son that both taught at West Georgia.
All right. So who's better? Is Eric with a H the father or the son?
He's the son.
He's the son. All right. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I don't know who's my favorite.
What were they teaching?
His father taught like a marketing class, and then his son taught more business management, organizational behavior.
Oh, so you're going to be this guy in the band, huh?
Yeah.
You're going to be the one doing all the deals.
Yeah.
Well, so from those marketing courses, have you found any of that translating to what you're trying to do with music? Yeah,
and I think, I mean, through college, and my first job out of college was like working for kind of like a marketing agency. And I mean, we spent a lot of time working on like branding and like what does your brand kind of look like and what's like the voice of the brand and stuff like that. And it's like, you know, a lot of those things translated, but that doesn't mean I have like the time or resources to like really build that kind of stuff. But as far as like ads go and like, you know, general social media things, a lot of that stuff I kind of lean on. And a lot of the social media stuff is like, I'm kind of the one behind it. And I enjoy it, but it's just one of those things where it's like, I enjoy it so much that I have a hard time putting something out there that's not up to my standards.
I got you.
And so it sometimes becomes like counterproductive where I'm like, oh, I just need it. Oh, what's the perfect, you know, whatever.
Isn't that interesting? The guy who wants to improv a solo all the time and never play the same way needs perfection on the
weird.
Social media ad.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't just go like, let's just do a dumb one. Let's just, you know, that's interesting. Yeah. But I mean, I get it. I get it. You know the power of that stuff when it's done well.
Yeah.
You know?
Also, this is a sidebar. Thank you for your patience of scheduling this interview.
Oh yeah, it's all
we
good.
we all have access to the Instagram, and a lot of messages get lost. So I appreciate you being patient.
You know, I'm one of those. You know, like I'm not like super religious or anything, but I do get like, you know, like when the universe is ready for the interview to happen, it'll happen. You know, I used to like force things and be like, hey, just following up and blah blah, and it's just it doesn't work that way. It's like, you know, everybody's life is busy. If it's going to work, it's going to work. If it's not, no problem.
Totally.
You know, because I've had that with people where we couldn't schedule something, you know, for like 8-9 months.
Yeah.
And then magically it's like, actually my Tuesday's open. And they're like, mine too.
Yeah.
Okay,
cool.
great.
See, it is it. Yeah.
And, you know, both of you are doing the thing like, are we not scheduling this because they hate me? Like,
yeah. It was like, who should go on that podcast? I don't know. Let's talk about it next practice. Practice happened.
With bands, that's usually the problem. I used to bring, you know, 2 or 3 people on.
Yeah.
Too chaotic. You know, it's like everybody's talking over each other and it's hard to just get in a groove of a conversation. And with bands too, like, you know, I think we talked about it a little bit. It's like, I think a lot of musicians are so worried about just like being cool. Yeah. You know, or like how they're going to be perceived, you know, because these awesome musicians you look up to that are already famous and stuff, a lot of them have these like great moments in an interview where they had like a quote or something profound.
Or they're just like a cool person.
Yeah. And it's like, you know, stop worrying about having that moment. You know, just be yourself. The moment, if that moment's meant to happen, it's going to happen. And it's hard to break some of them down. So I know they have those conversations within the bands because I'm usually like, whichever one of y'all, I don't care. I like to chat with, I like your band. I like to talk to whoever.
Yeah.
And I've had a couple people where they're like, you know, we can't really decide on who's going to do this. And they're like, can we get back? And I'm like, show's here. Let me know.
Yeah. That's awesome.
There's somebody that was like, you know, 4 months ago, they were like, we're still talking about it. We just can't agree. And it's like, okay. And that's just the way it goes, man.
Yeah.
How many people are in the band? 5?
Yeah, we have 5.
Yeah. That's 5 different opinions on, you know, if I talk to all 5 of you, your viewpoint on like what this band is and what it means, it's all different.
Totally different.
But now like who's going to represent that the best?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm just a big fan. I don't think anything matters anymore.
I don't think so
I think
either.
you just do what you like. So like you're talking about those ads. I think it's like the social media stuff. It's like whatever just seems fun.
Yeah.
I think that's the move nowadays.
Yeah.
Just who cares? You know, the odds of it, you know, launching or ruining your career, you know, slim, right?
Yeah.
It's all just going to be kind of a steady build. Yeah. What do you think is your, like, what's one of the more fun marketing things you've done that you feel like you've enjoyed, whether it's with the band or anything else? Like, what made it fun?
We tried our hand at, like, recording some promotional videos of just, like, we were practicing in someone's mom's garage, and then we were just like, hey, can you come and, like, record us, like, promoting our new single? And it was like none of us could get through the, like, you'll say this, and you'll say this. And it took us like way too long. And those kinds of things are really fun.
And you're over there, you're like, it's got to be a minute.
Yeah. Like people lose, you know, attention at this long or whatever. Those are fun. We like to do giveaways. Those are really fun. Like, you know, show us you bought a ticket to a show.
You feel like it's working?
I think so. I think sometimes it does.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to tell, man. I think people just throw it at the wall, try it out.
Yeah. For sure.
So was your degree in, what was it in that marketing was part of it?
I was business marketing and management.
Okay. So, how close do you think like a show like Mad Men is to like how much marketing affects like society in general?
Oh, I haven't seen Mad Men.
You haven't seen?
No.
Oh, you should check it out.
Okay.
It was based in the 60s, but they're
Okay.
just talking about how like you're shaping the culture with a lot of these ads.
Oh, yeah.
You know? Do you guys talk about that when you do that degree? Like how you can kind of I don't know, it's not a narrative, but it's like you're contributing so much to culture that you're essentially kind of guiding it in different directions, right?
Dr. Burgel, shout out, senior, not senior, they didn't have the same name, but the older Burgel, he would be upset at me calling him older Burgel, but I digress. He used to say in his class, if you perceive it, it's real. And so it's like, in marketing, how do you build something that could be perceived as either higher value or more important or more of a deal or something like that? And so a lot of times what you're thinking is like, you know, I know you like X, Y, and Z. You might be inclined to like this. And so I'm going to show you something that's, you know, that could be maybe a clear line from the things you already like to this new thing I'm trying to steer you towards.
So it's kind of about taking like small steps from something I'm already into.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was something at my first job in college. We built a lot of like profiles. And so it's like, you know, one of our clients was like a Bluetooth speaker company, but it was kind of like an outdoor rugged speaker company. So what is a person who would use that typically like? Oh, they probably like IPAs. They probably like being outside and camping. They probably, you know.
How much of your degree was like learning how to like read or profile people a little bit? This type of person might
like
be into this type of thing.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? Segmenting?
Yeah, I think they call it like target market segmenting.
Yeah.
But not a ton. I
Okay.
mean, we would kind of like touch on it, and it was sometimes like a through line in certain things we were talking about.
Yeah. Marketing's really interesting to me.
It's crazy.
There's just so many people selling so many things.
Oh, yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
And the fact that anyone wedges something in like a portable Bluetooth rugged speaker into a market that already has that type of stuff.
Yeah.
How did you even, you know, taking it from your garage or whatever to, you know.
Yeah. How do you like create value or perceived value? Yeah.
And, you know, I think I would be terrible in that field because my first thought would be like, is it valuable?
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, that's not your job as the marketing team, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd be like, you know, I know you made it, but does the
cool?
world need it?
Yeah.
Right? They'd be like, okay, you're off the project.
Yeah.
We're so sorry.
This has been fun. Yeah. Get out of here.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, how do you balance that? Because that's an interesting major for an artistic person.
Yeah.
You know, two opposite sides of the coin there.
Yeah.
What's up with that? Why so artistic here, but then thinking like, okay, how do we sell things?
Yeah. Well, I think it works because they're two separate things. I'm kind of in like project management now. And I think it makes sense because what I do during the day is so like numbers heavy and like, you know, kind of looking 2 weeks ahead at what could happen that would mess up our timelines or anything like that, that the music becomes like a way to blow off steam. It's kind of like right brain versus left brain. And I think, you know, if my hobby was reading books or something that was like more towards what I do for a living, I think it wouldn't work. Like I think I would get burnt out.
Yeah. What made you go towards that degree at all?
I couldn't decide what to study. And so
Really?
I was just like, yeah, I'll just do.
So you're just looking through the
I
catalog.
like marketing. Yeah, and then I had a marketing internship, and I was like, okay, cool. I guess I'll get a degree in this. Yeah, so it's just like,
dude, I love that,
for
man.
fun.
I tell people all the time when they're interested in stuff, it's like you should probably just try it.
Yeah,
What's the worst that's going to happen?
yeah. And the way a professor explained it to me one time, I was like in his office hours, and he knew I had played music, and we kind of like established this thing where I would sometimes ask questions about assignments he had, and then we just talk about music. And I was like, so what should I do, like with my career and like with my job and all these things, you know? And he was like, well, if you think about music and you're like walking down this hallway and you walk by this door and it's like kind of cracked open and you're like, oh, I think that's B.B. King in there. Like, I'm gonna open this door. I'm gonna go investigate blues. Like, you should feel like you can do that with your career. Like, oh, I'm interested in this. The door's kind of open. Let me just poke my head in and see. If it's not, I'll just close the door and I'll just keep walking, and there's going to be something else that comes up. And that kind of like stuck with me. Probably because he tied it to music, but it just made sense.
It's a great philosophy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can always shut it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, what a wise person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope they gave that speech to a lot of different people.
I hope so too.
I mean, that kind of talking though, with your balance of business and art, I mean, it seems like you're primed to be this guy who's ultimately going to start like a record label or something later on.
Yeah.
Is that something you're interested in?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And, working with kind of like John Pedigo through some of the singles that we recorded it's just really cool to see someone who kind of like did their own thing and now has his own studio and like, has a bunch of pretty big artists like under his kind of, sorry, spilled water on myself. Oh. Under his kind of watch. And I think that's a really cool thing.
Yeah. It's interesting. What do you think now in like like all the stuff we talked about, what the music industry is now?
Yeah.
What do you feel like a label, forget what maybe they do provide, but like what do you think they should provide? Like what do you think a band's going to get out of a label now that would be helpful? If some label came up and was like, we are ready to sign you and you guys know it's a good fit because they're going to offer XYZ. What do you think that even looks like? Because I struggle to wonder. I don't want labels to go away.
Yeah.
But I struggle to see like what
do they do?
What is their goal now also? Because it's also harder for them.
Yeah.
For sure. They can't sell this stuff that they used to where you both make money off this. You know? And it's like I hear labels are looking at, social media followers and it's like, but that doesn't translate. I would gather you guys probably have more people at your live shows now than you have, your live shows probably get more attendance than your social media would suggest.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't know how a label goes about even saying like, here's what we can do for you.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think is your band you would want done for you?
Oh, that's a great question. I think like in general, like unbiased guidance. I think a lot of times labels kind of get the rap of being like predatory almost. And we all have like heard horror stories of, a band gets an advance of $300K and then, they record their album and they go out on tour and then, they owe the label $400K. So it's like, I think in addition to, kind of guidance, I think because of the age of social media, I think it would be helpful for labels to kind of approach bands from like a branding and like, building up this brand. And like, I think about some of my favorite bands and they like, it's not only their music that's cool, it's the merch that looks cool. It's the records, it's the, the social media stuff. It's kind of like their tone of voice speaking about the band on social media. It's, the community they've built and the people that are kind of investing into this idea, almost like you would invest into like Nike skateboarding line of like clothes or something like that, where it kind of has this clear and concise identity, but it's also evolving. And I think that would be cool, kind of approaching it from like a creative studio direction.
Who in your band is the person, like if y'all had to decide on a logo or a feel like that, who's that person takes like the pictures or draws something, or who's we've clearly seen who you are in the band. But it's like I doubt you're going off to make like, what's that new T-shirt design? That probably doesn't interest you that much, right?
I like to be a part of the conversations, but I can't really decide. You're not like drawing it at home. No.
Who do you think in your band takes that kind of lead?
I think Andrew probably would. He's a pretty artistic dude, and he's good at drawing stuff. So Carter's, I guess, sister-in-law is like, she's designed a lot of our posters, a lot of our merch.
Gotcha.
She crushes it. And shout out Becca. She does a great job.
So she seems to get kind of what y'all are about then.
Yeah. And even there's times with like, we forgot to ask you for this, graphic, and we're playing a show. We want to do a thing. Do you have anything just like lying around?
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, here you go. This is something that I don't want. And it's like, this is insane. We would have paid for this, you know, like.
And she's like, you still can.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I think that stuff is like really cool.
I mean, you're answering your own questions, man.
Yeah, I know.
That's your person.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why I wanted to ask it, because, I mean, it sounds like you already know what you like, you know? But, man, you're dead on. It's like part of the reason I was struggling, like, whether or not, you know, I want y'all to do a full album or singles is the thing you just mentioned, where it's like part of the reason I love people like Jack White is that's what they do, right?
Yeah.
He's got a style and a theme. If it's a solo project, it's a certain theme.
It's a certain color.
Yeah, White Stripes is a certain theme, you know, the Raconteurs, all that. And then even his, have you ever checked out his record label, Third Man Records?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's what they do. It's like, this is what Third Man is about. When you see, it's like, you see 3 lines and you go, oh, it's a Third Man. It's like, how did you make 3 lines so recognizable?
Yeah.
It's fascinating, you know?
Yeah.
But it all comes from, you know, what I like to think is a guy like that makes very bad business decisions.
Yeah.
He makes bad choices.
Yeah.
But they end up being very cool choices.
For sure.
You know, it's like All American Rejects playing these house shows. That's a bad business choice.
Probably losing money.
They're doing
but it's like,
they're doing $5 tickets.
That's crazy.
It's not a good business decision, but like, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's what you're going to be like. Maybe your role is to know, like, my education tells me this is a bad choice.
Yeah.
So let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, to like,
you know,
the All American Rejects thing is like, they might be charging $5 for tickets, but they're also reaching an audience that like was in diapers when they were like a big thing.
And guess what? They're about to put out like a new single or something.
Oh yeah, and it's gonna
How do you think that's
up.
going to go?
Yeah,
and it's like, God, that's what it's about, man. Just doing the fun thing. So yeah, I think you're right on track, man. Like, find these people who make this great merch.
Yeah,
make a couple badass T-shirts for a show, and then go play some shows, sell them, and keep spreading what you're doing. You know?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, man. Y'all's band makes me excited.
Oh, I'm glad.
Yeah, I mean, just it sounds like y'all are having fun, which is like so many bands. It's just, you know, the way we're going to capitalize on this, and it's like, oh my God, okay, I understand. I understand you have to do that, but it's like you got into this for the fun and the love of music. It's like, just keep doing that.
Yeah.
What's your favorite guitar setup right now that's your go-to?
I was a Tele guy for
the
longest time. I recently kind of made the switch back to my SG.
Okay.
And yeah, it's been great. For the longest time, I was kind of not playing it. It wouldn't stay in tune like some Gibsons do. And I finally like figured out what was wrong with it, and I sent it to a guy, and I was like, I think this is what's wrong. I've paid for it to get set up like 3 times, didn't do anything. I think this is it. He gave it back. It plays like a dream.
That's awesome.
And so that's been what I've been rocking.
Dude, talk about an unsung hero, like a good luthier.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, you have no way of really knowing if they're awesome or not. It's all word of mouth.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, I got a guy who's great.
Yeah. And you're like, sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I went to that guy and he was not nice.
Yeah. Well, that's great. You finally found one. So what, from there, what do you like to set it up through?
I have a pedal board that, you know, if we wanted to have this podcast be 4 hours, I could easily talk about it.
Oh, but, so you got a big pedal board? Or?
It's not that big.
Oh, okay.
It's like 10 or 11 pedals, but mostly a few overdrives.
Mm-hmm.
I like this overdrive out of Athens, Greer Lightspeed. It's just like cool classic overdrive. And then I got a couple delays and some weird pedals.
Yeah.
I think it's fun sometimes, you know, with like the kind of looseness we try to play with, to like have some things to like snap me out of what I would usually play.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it's cool having some stuff you typically wouldn't gravitate towards.
Well, those jam band roots are deep in you now, aren't they? Aren't they?
They've got me. Got me hooked.
Man, what amp do you like to use right now?
I played through a Blues Junior. God, I love him.
The reason I asked, man, I told you I bought that guitar.
Yeah.
I don't know what I want in terms of like an amp and stuff, you know. And so many people keep going to that Blues Junior.
Yeah.
And it's I know it's great. I know it's great.
Yeah.
And it's the perfect, like, if you want a gig, it's not huge.
Yeah.
It sounds incrable.
Crank them.
Yeah, crank it up.
You should just come over and play mine.
I know what they sound like.
Walk over. Okay.
I know it. I've played on them. I know it's just, you know how it is. It's like, oh, the gear's going to make me sound good.
Yeah.
This amp, that amp, blah, 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 blah. I already know the answers, you know. And, but yeah, it's like, I'm always, really truthfully, what I'm looking for is, did you ever listen to the band Cake?
Yes.
Love that guitar player.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever really listened to him much, but he's just got a style that's his,
Yeah,
and he plays
cool
a lot of really cool riffs. But I looked up his setup one time, and all he did was he got a Rat distortion pedal, put it on kind of a low setting.
Yeah.
And then he played through like a, what's the Fender? It's like, I think it's like a Blues DeVille or something where it's like 4 10s.
Yeah, the big boys.
And I don't know if you've ever played on that, but it's like, you put it on 2 and you don't hear anything, and you put it on 4 and it's way too loud for anything you would ever use.
Yeah, it's peeling the paint off the walls.
Yeah. And but I always loved that he just basically kind of cranked it.
Yeah.
And then he just rode his guitar volume knob for everything.
Yeah.
And I was
that's
like,
the way to do it.
I was like, God, man, I think I need to enter this era of playing where it's just simplicity. And
Yeah.
It's like, how good am I? I'm not going to lean on this, not going to lean on... Well, you guys are performing, so you have different reasons.
Yeah.
But it's like, when I'm just playing in my house, it's like, you just need to be a better player. you know? And so part of me is going like, what's that perfect amp that I can just break it up, but when I roll back on that telly, it's nice and clean, and I can play all that way.
Yeah.
And it's like, there is no perfect amp. Just go get an amp.
Just a small amp.
Yeah. Well, because right now I have this this vintage Silvertone amp.
Oh, cool.
But it's giant. It's 6 10-inch speakers.
Goodness.
And so it's an amp I'll never get rid of, because it's just, they're hard to come by now, and it's really cool. And but it's just not practical. It's like I've got it on like 3 in the house, and my wife is like, your son is trying to watch a show.
Yeah. We were rehearsing at this one place, and the guy who owned the place was like, you want to play through like a super reverb? And I was like, yeah. I never played through one. And it was the same thing. Like we got like 3 songs in, and I was like, I can't do this.
It's so loud.
So loud.
Yeah, because it's just that era before PA systems were really sophisticated, and
And then you go see someone like Derek Trucks play, and he plays the same amp, and everything's on like 10, and it's like that's got to be the loudest thing ever.
Well, that's always the way it goes, right? It's like, I'm sitting here looking at stuff, being like, well, okay, so if I get this, if I get that. And then you see someone who really plays like Derek Trucks, and you're like, oh, so he makes anything sound good.
Yeah, he goes straight into the amp. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Wild.
Eddie 9-volt was that way, no pedals.
Yes.
Straight into
I
the
knew
amp.
that, yeah.
I did not know that before that show.
Yeah. So Andrew, our singer, was at that show.
Oh, really?
And they talked a little bit after.
That's cool.
But yeah, Eddie 9-volt's great. He's so good.
It's rare that I get to catch someone on on their come up.
Yeah.
And it's so fun to experience that. And I've never been one of those who it's like, well, I knew them before. It's so fun to like see them on that arc on social media. When I went to Sundown at Granada on like a Tuesday or whatever it was, I was genuinely wondering, like, can he sell tickets here?
Yeah.
Are there going to be 10 people? And I think there was like probably about 100 maybe.
That's awesome.
And so you were just psyched to be like, wow, that this many people know about this up and coming guy, came out on a weeknight.
And they're going to bring their friends next time he comes.
Man. Yeah. And then he said he got signed to Dan Auerbach's label.
Yeah.
So hopefully with that type of, backing, I mean, if he's got a producer role at all or anything, this should be a great pairing. So I don't know. It's just exciting, man.
Yeah.
Those moments just make you pumped about like just music in general.
Yeah.
But same thing, I think he went into like a Music Man amp, just straight in.
That's awesome.
Dang.
Yeah. He's so good.
He was another one. After that show, I was like, if I wasn't married with a kid, it's like I'd be practicing right now, because it's like you just
sound just like that. Yeah,
man. He was up there talking about how he sold his dirt bike to buy this Stratocaster that he had.
That's
and
awesome.
that's like how it all started.
That's so cool.
He had like a dirt bike, and he's like, I sold this, and I think his brother's in the band with him.
Yeah, I think he plays bass or something.
I think they're brothers, and he's like, and he sounds so cool, and it's like I don't know if it's rehearsed or if he's not even trying, but either way, I'm down with it. But he's like putting it on. He's like, I sold this $450, bought me this Stratocaster, best decision of my life. And you're like, fuck you, man, that's cool.
Like, I hope that's true. Yeah.
But then he's up there
awesome.
just playing it so naturally, where you're like, that dude was in his bedroom just jamming.
Just
you don't
shedding.
play like that without, and it's just so fun to see. And you guys know, it's like you play blues music too, and it's like there's so much of that kind of phony, overcompensating blues.
Yeah.
And he just seems so genuine.
Yeah.
It's just exciting.
Totally. Yeah, and I was going to make a point about like a local, balcony clubs, like not too far from here.
I was going to mention Balcony Club.
Really?
I didn't know if you knew about it yet, but
oh, dude,
that's a great little, I feel bad about even saying it on this podcast because it's like this little hidden gem over here.
I know.
Y'all's band would crush in there.
Yeah, we've talked about
it's a nice there. Have you been in there recently? Or
yes.
So it's like the way that stage is set up, it's tight in the right way.
Yeah.
You put 60 people in that room, and
it feels like a million.
Yeah, and you're just going to be like you won't even be able to move. It'll just be you and your pedal board.
Yeah.
And it'll be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've gone there and like, I don't know if you've ever just gone in there to just listen to music, but they've always got these great bands rolling through there.
Oh yeah.
That just, even if they're just doing covers, and normally I hate just listening to like straight covers.
Yeah.
But they just do them so well, man.
Yeah.
And it's like you'll be watching this group of like older musicians who's been playing together for like 30 years.
Yeah.
And you're like, God, y'all are so good.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And the crowds there, like, I don't know, man. Some of these bars that have live music, it's like, you go in the crowd, it's like they all act like they have something better to do.
Oh, for sure.
You know, and it's just like, why did you even come out tonight? Were y'all trying to have fun this evening?
Phone. Yeah.
Yeah. But every time I've been to the Balcony Club, it's just, I think it's just the demographic. It's like,
they're
just
music listeners.
They are, man.
Yeah.
They get in there. Phones are not out unless they're filming you playing.
Yeah.
And they're involved, dude. It's one of the few spots where I've seen like more than 50% of the people always dancing because they're into it. And it's like, the spot's great, man.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a stretch, I say was because I feel like I just kind of came out of it, where I went every week for the
Balcony
better
Club?
part of a year. Yeah. They have a blues jam. I would go all the time.
Were you hopping in the blues jam?
I was trying to, yeah.
Nice.
It's
so I'm telling you stuff you already know. Cut me off next time, please.
No. It's a great spot. And like I met the owner. The owner, David Lucky, is not only a really good person and owner of the place, he's an insane musician.
Oh, I didn't know
He can
that.
sing. He plays drums. The amount of people that go in there that are so good is insane.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's this guy named Junior Clark. He kind of hosts the blues jam, and like, if you want to be humbled on the guitar, you go watch this guy play for 30 seconds, and you'll be torn between practicing every day for the rest of your life or like wanting to give up.
I'll just focus on my marketing career. I mean, isn't that the craziest thing about guitar, though? It's like, it just doesn't matter how good you are. There's some no-name person who has no ambition of being in a big band or anything.
Yeah.
They just want to be good, and they're incredibly good.
Yeah. Well, this guy, he's probably in his 60s, and it's like he's played some like pretty crazy shows, and I think was even like Texas Tornado in the 80s, which is like an award they give to up-and-coming blues players.
Yeah, but now you can check him out at the Balcony Club.
Yeah, he's the man.
That's pretty rad.
Yeah, and there's, they have
an open mic I keep trying to go check out for more like a singer-songwriter thing. Yeah. I've been trying to hit that up.
I think a guy named Ryan Berg hosts it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I've seen some of the, like a couple of the people that have been on this show have gone to that open mic.
Oh, sweet.
And so I was like, oh, okay, well, if you're doing it, that's pretty good, kind of vouching for it. And then I go look through his clips. I'm like, there's some really... Same thing is like, God, there's just... That's part of the reason I love doing this podcast is there's just so many talented people in DFW that you never even get to stumble upon. Yeah. And I'm sure you guys are playing shows, you see these people you play with, it's like, there are good bands and good artists out there.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like, you just don't want them to just drift and be forgotten.
Yeah, totally.
When they have all that talent. But,
yeah, and I think it's this weird thing where people are like, it's either New York, LA, or like Nashville, but it's like, dude, there's some crazy talented people in DFW, and
I think people forget how many music venues we still have open.
Oh yeah,
when all these other ones shut down. It's like we have our big music venues, we have the medium-sized clubs, and then we still have these bar venues, kind of like Sundown and these others where you can just, have y'all even got to play places like Double Wide yet? Have y'all got to do that?
Yeah, we played Double Wide. Yeah,
it's like those spots are fantastic for your level of music that you're at right now. You can pack that out.
Yeah,
and it's like it's always just that right amount of like sweaty.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
where everybody's having a good
time. There needs to be a little bit of grime.
Yeah, you gotta. Yeah, it's interesting. But what you were talking about, the owner of the Balcony Club.
Yeah,
that's really the only reason that works is because that person loves it.
Yeah,
that person's taking a significant amount of pride in what their version of good music is.
Yeah. He takes care of musicians,
and I think that's the key. I'm just looking to see. I want to see what one of these other questions was before we get too far. See what your friend said. I don't know. Cody something. Do you know this person?
Oh yeah.
Cody B. Cody B wants to know what was it like being at Intrinsic Brewing with your dad and seeing someone out in a Yes Man Band shirt.
Yes, we played a show opening for Briscoe at the Kessler Theater probably about a year and a half ago.
Another fantastic venue.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's the best. And my dad flew in for the show, and the next day we were just like walking around Garland, and we like walked into this brewery, and this dude's like wearing one of our band shirts. And I was like, hey, that's a cool shirt. And my dad was like, yeah, he's in the band, right? And so we just like hung out at the bar and like, had a beer. And
that's cool.
And he's been coming to a lot of our shows, so it's really cool.
Dude, come on.
Yes, it was so weird.
Did you do a double take the first time you see it, or like how's that
I was like, is this some kind of joke? Like, I felt like I was like on the Truman Show.
Yeah.
Did
your dad notice it first, or you?
I think I did.
And so you like give him a little elbow. You're like,
I think that guy's wearing our shirt. Yeah.
So we're like, we're pretty famous.
Yeah. It was weird.
Well, what is that shirt like?
Wait, what do you mean?
Well, you were talking about merch design and things that earlier.
Oh, that was the one I was trying to. Yeah. This one it's like a cream shirt. We wanted a shirt that didn't have any dates on it, and it was just like a very general merch shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And so it has like a pretty simple logo on the front, like where a pocket would be, and then like a dude drinking a beer on the back.
I think Danny might have worn that shirt on this episode.
Oh, probably.
I think that's the one he wore. Yeah,
we have that one, and we have like a black shirt.
Okay.
And we've done some like limited runs of shirts.
See, man, I think that's the move. Look,
yeah.
I think you're this perfect mix of like, you're here in modern times, but you have this appreciation for the old music, right?
Yeah.
Tap into what those old bands were doing. You should just go look at all that old merch.
Yeah.
Find your modern twist that you want to put on it, and just do cool limited runs. Like, we only made 50, we'll never make 51.
Yeah.
And just have fun with it, man.
Yeah.
And just get people excited so that like when they see that one, they're like, oh my God, you got that one. Yeah. They only sold this one at the Rustic.
Yeah.
They only sold this one at, Sundown at Granada or whatever. And I think that's y'all's key, man, is mix that old world and new world and just have a good time with it.
Yeah. And we've been trying to do that with hats. Like, we have a pretty basic hat design, but we only make, 10 or 20 at a time. And then, you see people wearing them and they're like, I'll trade you that one. It's like, no, I got this one at the first time.
That's rad.
Yeah. So that's cool.
Are you even making money off that merch at this point? It's all so expensive.
It's very expensive. Yeah.
I mean, it's cool. I would print it up no matter what, but like,
for sure.
The margins on all that are
it's hard.
It's rough, man.
And it's like, you don't want to charge your friends $30 for a shirt. Like, it just, I don't know.
Yeah. What do you sell a shirt for usually?
I think one of the ones that has dates on it, since we made it like 3 years ago, I think we sell it for like 10 or 15 bucks.
Yeah.
And then the more general ones, like 20, 25.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, it's hard. Like, you see these touring bands and they're like, our shirt is $45. And you're like,
I'm like, dude, come on.
I mean, I want to support. All right. All right. But come on.
I think that is kind of the trade-off, though, in the age of streaming, is like, if I listen to Blackberry Smoke every day for a year and then they come through my town, it's like, I'm going to buy tickets and then I'm going to buy a record or I'm going to buy a shirt. Yeah. I feel like as a listener, that's like part of the agreement. It's like, I want to be supporting them.
What I hate doing it because it's always expensive.
Expensive.
But I always, if they have a vinyl, I'll get the vinyl just because I know they're not making any money off of the vinyl. It's they're just in the hole and they're trying to make it back and they want something cool. Yeah. And then I usually get the shirt hoping like, okay, you get the vinyl inventory out of your van and maybe the shirt made you $10, hopefully. It's like, that's my compromise of like, if I like it, it's like, that's what I did at the, Eddie 9-Volt show. It's like, vinyl shirt, let's go. Yeah. And you just hope, it's like, I hope you're not selling all this and you're still like, do we have gas money?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because y'all don't know how good it was with CDs.
Oh, no. We have no clue. Yeah.
We were an independent band and we were going around and there was this tour going on that we snuck on the tour. Did you ever hear the Vans Warped Tour? Yes. We snuck on the Vans Warped Tour. We weren't supposed to be there. We weren't playing shows. We were just selling CDs to the crowd. So we had CD players. And we're like, check out this band. And we looked.
You're the business guy. I don't know why you're saying I'm the business guy.
I don't know that I'm a smart business guy. I think I have more work ethic than talent. Okay, might be a good way to put it.
That's fair.
Like I'm the one who's like, fuck it, let's do it. Let's try it. Let's try it out. It might work. It might not.
Yeah.
This was one of those where we'd booked shows on like, Thursday, Friday, Saturdays in these college towns and we had people helping us out, but you're moving like 10 CDs and it sucks. Yeah. It sucks, and there's like not a big crowd because none of us are a popular band. We're trying to do something, Yeah. And then on like the Monday, Tuesdays when we couldn't find a good place to play, we'd kind of book the tour around, we'll go to this Warped Tour stop and we'll just beg people to buy a CD as they're waiting in line to get into this thing. Like we're this touring band, air quotes. Yeah. And since you look the part, they just kind of, we never lied to them. They just kind of thought we were on the tour.
Yeah.
So they would let us, they'd be like, oh yeah, we'll check it out. And they'd be like, what stage are y'all playing on? And it was really common for small bands to get bumped off a stage in certain towns if there was a bigger band. So we were like, well, we got bumped today, And they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But we were selling these CDs for like $10 a CD.
Wow.
And so the first time we did that, we sold like 100 CDs.
Dang.
We thought it was a fluke. And then the next time it was like 150. And then by the time we got our system down, we dropped every show we had booked, just followed the tour. We were selling like 200 a day.
Wow.
So you're making like $2,000 a day selling these CDs.
Goodness.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like, it was difficult back then to make it work, but we had a way to make money. We had a way to put gas in the tank, get food. So we went across the country, a couple times off those CD sales.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you do that now? That seems insurmountable,
Yeah.
Like, how did Eddie 9-Volt get to Dallas and actually make a penny?
Yeah. It's got to be merch. I mean, sometimes we'll play places and it's like, besides covering like a beer tab, it's like you're not really making anything.
Yeah.
And I think that's where merch can kind of come in, especially if you've never played there or like, you can't really bargain any sort of like bar sales numbers. And so you're like, all right, can we sell merch? Okay, cool.
Have y'all had any, you don't have to say names, obviously, but have y'all had anybody who wants to take a cut of your merch yet? Has that come up?
No, I don't think so.
We played it when I was in a different band that was just more of like an indie rock band. We played a couple venues where they wanted like 10% of your merch sales. And we were like, what?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, if you want to set up. And they insisted on having like one of their people sell our merch so they could tab everything
so they could
up.
make sure.
Yeah. And I was like, this just feels sleazy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be kind of hard.
Yeah, but we were in a bind. It's like we showed up, we had all this merch. It was we were opening for another band so it was like a little bit bigger show, and we were like hoping we could sell a bunch of shirts, and we did, but it just still felt like, man, y'all took 10%, huh, just for being here. Dang, and y'all sold all that alcohol. And,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the key it'll be people like that balcony club owner. It's like you just got to have people who love music and are like, no, we're going to do it ethically. We're going to do it the right way. But
for sure,
I'm hoping that All American Rejects thing just kicks off a wave.
Oh, I think it will.
I think so, man.
Yeah,
it's time for y'all to start doing your house party tour.
Oh yeah, we should.
I mean, are you okay? Like let's do a big house party somewhere, knowing like you're going to get arrested for disturbing the peace or something. Are y'all ready to do that? How committed are we?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, dude, I'm gonna get you out of here. I've had a blast talking to you. I can't believe we're neighbors. That blows my mind still. One of the last questions that we'll close it out on, because it's one of the things I like hearing from people. But I'm gonna kind of make it a two-parter, right?
Cool.
Where was this person? Oh yeah. So is there a Sammy Shepard?
Yes.
Some of your local, local music that you love.
Yeah.
Who are some locals that you feel like we should be checking out?
I think if anyone regularly plays at the Balcony Club, you should check them out.
There you go.
So Junior Clark, Kirk Hampton, Perry Jones, C.T. Davis, a guy named Kirby Kelly, who is like one of my biggest inspirations on slide stuff. He's a wizard. As far as bands, the Desk Jockeys, we've played a show with them.
The Desk Jockeys? Okay.
Yeah. There's some dudes out of SMU. They're super fun. We actually opened a show at the Granada for them.
Nice.
I think they're playing again this summer. Dev Wolf.
Okay.
He's another friend of ours.
That name sounds so familiar. I don't know why, though.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. There's so many people.
There's a lot. I know I'm put you on the spot too, but
no, you're fine. Yeah,
dude. Well, if you think about them, just send them my way, man. I'll try to get them on the show and talk to them as well. But man, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, dude. Thank you so much.
Anything else? You said you have a show in July. When?
Yeah, July 19th. We're playing the Rustic.
Okay.
But yeah, check us out on Instagram at the Yes Man Band, and we'll probably have a single come out at some point this summer. I don't have a save the date yet.
I love the marketing background, guys.
Yeah.
Like, sometime, hopefully.
Yeah.
That's the mystery we were talking about, dude.
Exactly.
You're already taking my advice.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
The I'm a Fan of podcast, music, comedy, and more.